COVID. Okay, so let's go to. I honestly, you know, I honestly would. Uh, yeah, I honestly am right now thinking about what to share with you, and I know there are many different portions. You want to do like a unique portion, like a portion of the Bible that maybe not so much that we. No, I mean, yeah. Let's do number Nehemiah chapter 13. And just for our learning, I don't know application, I don't know the outline of this message at this lunch wrap. This is on the internet. It's live streamed, and we're thinking of CCon happening this weekend. Pastor Shabeli did arrive in Mumbai and then off to Thailand. So that's good to hear. And we love him and the folks gathering in Thailand, which is, I believe, a really big deal because I think 30 from the Philippines, I think 100 Chinese people are meeting there. Then you have the Thai people, you have some Cambodians. So it's a big thing, this conference. And to be honest, like worldwide, like our conferences are growing and like what the Lord is doing in them. Like here in Baltimore, the Eurocon one, the Indian one is, the Nepali one was packed with 600 people, It's like, there's a lot of people overall, So that's to the glory of God. It doesn't matter in the one way, like it's not like we're, you know, but on the other hand, it's beautiful when these people are following Jesus with all their heart. So let's go to Nehemiah 13. Now, the Jews have returned to Israel to getting settled. They have built the temple, the wall of the temple. They are working together. They've had their struggles. They've had opposition. They have Sanballat and Tobiah. They have, kind of rebellion, disappointments amongst themselves, like a civil disappointment, like Nehemiah 5, uh, becoming slaves, the Jews having Jews as slaves. And that's what really, you know. All right, so now we have chapter 3 is a good chapter to know about. We can just start reading it. On that day, they read in the book of Moses in the audience of the people, and this is a good way to start, to have a revival with the reading of the word. And they find things that are written there that they need to obey. So this is a good way of living. Like it'd be like in America, we all would go back to the Bible. We all like learn the Bible. We would all turn and then start to obey what the Bible is saying. And we would have a revival, if God gave the grace for that. And they found it was written that the Ammonite and the Moabite should not come into the congregation of God forever, because they met not the children of Israel with bread and water, but hired Balaam against them, that he would curse them. Howbeit our God turned his curse into a blessing. Now it came to pass, when they had heard the law, that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude. So this is like, strictly speaking, kind of like a racism, like eliminating the foreigners, people that are not belonging to the Jews. But why? Because it was God's law. Now it came to pass, when they had heard the law, that they separated from Israel. All right, verse 4. Besides this, Eliashib the priest, having the oversight of the chamber of the house of our God, was allied unto Tobiah. Now, Tobiah is a bad guy. And the priest is married to his daughter, I think. Let's go to 5. And he had prepared for him a great chamber, where aforetime they laid the meat offerings, frankincense vessels, and the tithes of the corn, the new wine, and the oil, which was commanded to be given to the Levites, and the singers and the porters and the offerings to the priests. But in all this time was not I at Jerusalem. For in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, came I unto the king, and after certain days obtained I leave of the king. And I came to Jerusalem, and understood all the evil that Eliashib did for Tobiah, in preparing him a chamber in the courts of the house of God. And it grieved me sore. Therefore I cast forth all the household stuff of Tobiah out of the chamber, like throw it all out on the sidewalk, right? Empty his room. Now, comparing it to our church here, our campus, and let's say there's something evil happening on our property, like there's some abortion clinic, down in the fellowship hall or something really wrong. So who's going to act on it? It was Nehemiah. So he took all the guy's stuff and threw it out, got rid of him. So this is the message that I'd like in this text is to have the Spirit, fire, the Spirit of truth, the Spirit, and act on it. And we get real soft in life. And we get very, very soft and accommodating, and we don't want to make waves. We don't want conflicts. But this guy, Nehemiah, he's not afraid of the conflict. He's not afraid of dealing with stuff. So turn to your neighbor at the table and just ask the question, are you afraid of dealing with stuff? Holly, are you afraid of dealing? Diesel Bob says, no, she isn't. No, she isn't. Diesel Bob, where did you get those wounds? Okay. I mean, this is important. Where do you get now there was on the news last night, on Fox News, there was a parliamentarian from the EU who was Polish. Anybody see that? And he gave a speech in Brussels to the EU, and he said, in Poland, we receive no illegal immigrants. We receive no. And then he said, you people, and he said it to them. They were the members of government for the EU. You, in your countries, you receive illegal immigrants. In Poland, we do not. We do not have terrorism. We pay our debts. We are law-abiding. And if you are an illegal immigrant, you are a criminal. You are illegal. We deport you immediately. This is what he was saying, and it was like amazing. So, let's think about this chapter and see where it goes. Let's go. I won't keep you long, but I want to draw your attention. I cleanse the chambers, verse 9. And so they're brought out again, the vessels of the house of God, with the meat offering. Meaning the place to store the meat offerings and the frankincense and the wine and everything wasn't there. So they didn't have the material to offer up the sacrifices because it's being displaced by this guy Tobiah and his furniture. So they got rid of that, and I love to think of throwing it on the sidewalk. I love the whole idea of something that's like public shame even. Get rid of all that stuff because this is the house of God, right? Okay, verse 10. And I perceived that the portions of the Levites had not been given them, for the Levites and the singers that did the work were fled every one to his field. How much loss to the work of God when we allow evil in the house of God to replace the work of God, the godliness of these people. These people were afraid to show up because there wasn't a place for them. There wasn't a place because it was replaced by this evil guy. And that was a loss. And this is like not right. So verse 11, then contended I with the rulers and said, why is the house of God forsaken? And I gathered them together and set them in their place. So here's a good rule of leadership, like to get things right, to put them in their right place. And I made treasurers over the treasuries. Shelemiah, the priest, Zadok, the scribe of the Levites, Pedaiah, and next to them was Hanan, the son of Zakur, the son of Mattaniah, for they were counted faithful. And their office was to distribute unto their brethren. Remember me, O my God, concerning this, and wipe not out my good deeds that I have done for the house of my God and for the officers thereof. Remember me, O my God. Now, this prayer, remember me, oh my God, I have to tell you a personal story about it. Years ago when I was going to Hungary, I was going back and forth to Hungary. I remember this verse was like my verse. Remember me, oh my God. Like when you have problems or troubles in your life and you just do the right thing, then you can say this prayer, like, remember me, oh my God, for what I'm doing. I'm not boasting in it. I don't know about it. I'm just doing what I feel I have to do. And please remember me, oh my God. And I know, I just feel he has. He has helped me a lot. And he's been good to me in Hebrews 6:10. So then, 15, there's more. In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves and lading asses, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. There dwelt men of Tyre also, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem. Then I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said unto them, what evil thing is this that you do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet you bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. It came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, and there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day. So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. Then I testified against them and said to them, why lodge ye about the wall? If you do so again, I will lay my hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath. What did he say? I'm going to throw you people out. I'm going to lay my hands on you. They did it one more time or twice, but they didn't want to get in trouble with him. And they decided we're not going to do this on the Sabbath day. That was reinforcement with some conviction. Confiscating we should call them the tapes, the bad music tapes in the household. Confiscating what? The drugs or the tobacco products, or confiscating what? Alcohol, what? Geology? Astrology books, okay. Confiscating in the household, gathering up the stuff, and forbidding the teenagers. You are forbidden to do this. You will be penalized, like in India, right? These girls grew up in Christian homes. How was it? Did your parents deal with you or what? Her, she was they were lenient with Addie, but tough on Concha. Okay, so how about it? I think in India you guys are pretty confrontational, serious, or what? You see the what? You will see the back of my sandal. Huh? The spoon we have here, we used to have, the switch, the rod. Okay, the back of my sandal. Oh, don't ever let that happen to you. Okay. Verse 22. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves. They should come and keep the gates and sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my God. Remember me, O my God. Now, here's the thing. When you do this, you don't feel good about it. Like, I don't know. Maybe Jen loves it. She thrives on it. Like the back of my sandal. You will see the back. Okay. I don't feel good about it, but I have to say, remember me, O Lord. And that I have to do what I have to do, you know. There's that time, the boiling point you hit, and you got to do what you have to do. And you just say that prayer, Lord, help me and remember me. And I hope this is good for them, to straighten them out, to deal with them, yeah. And it says in the scripture that it turns evil away when people are dealt with. Like that's a rule in itself. Not only the person you're dealing with, but the people watching. They realize what's going on, right? Okay, so verse, remember me, O my God, concerning this, and spare me according to the greatness of your mercy. Now, verse 23. In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod. Where's Ashdod? They were Philistines of Ammon and of Moab. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. These are Jews, and their kids cannot speak Hebrew. And Nehemiah hits the boiling point again. He's ripping mad. These mixed marriages, not good. Now, in Finland, there's a political party, a conservative group. Pirjo, help me with that. Not Supi Suomalainen, but Perus Suomalainen. Perus, base Finn. Base Finn. They are not for immigration. The Finnish language, they are for like Finland to be Finland, you know. Perus Suomalainen, base Finn. So, we're in a world where like this is not, they don't like, the globalists don't like nationalism, and they always are just pointing to Germany when it was nationalistic under Hitler, you know, and that kind of thing. And so they throw out the anti-nationalistic idea, and for the sake of globalism, you know, the whole thing. And also the racist thing, and you're a racist, and also the language, and, you know, all of this. So this is, Nehemiah is saying just this. He's saying, we are Jews. We are followers of God. The Sabbath is important, our sacrifices, and who we marry. Who we marry. Now, in the history of Western world, there were differences of ideas with each nation about colonialism. So when the British came to North America, they would not marry the Indians. They would not mix with the Indian population, meaning North American Indians, not the Indians here, but that North American. They wouldn't do it. They would import the women from Britain. And sometimes a ship would come in to Boston Harbor with 300 women on the ship, and they were to be wives for the settlers, for the men here. But Portugal was different. When Portugal was in Latin America, when they went to Brazil, they mixed with the native population. What's my point? Not much. I'm not saying much. I'm just drawing your attention to the fact that in this text, They are not to mix with people. They are to stay Jewish. And the population was, and Nehemiah forced divorce in this chapter, the separation, and children too. So let's read it. It goes 25. And I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them, plucked off their hair. That'd be a great, I've never done that before. They just want to do that. And made them swear by God, saying, you shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin. Outlandish is Old English for foreign, I believe. Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our God in marrying strange wives? And one of the sons of Joiada, the son of Eliashib, the high priest, was son-in-law to Sanballat the Horonite. Therefore I chased him from me. Well, there's the high priest again. Okay, he was the one hooked up with Tobiah, and he was the son-in-law to Sanballat, who was Tobiah's friend. Okay, I chased him from me. Remember them, O my God, because they have defiled the priesthood and the covenant of the priesthood and of the Levites. Thus cleanse I them from all strangers, appointed the wards of the priests and the Levites, everyone in his business, and for the wood offering at times appointed for the first fruits. Remember me, O my God, for good. I know that by reading this, I know that it sounds whatever you want to call racist or nationalistic, but I want you to catch the idea. That's not my point as much as like this was a man of God who in his heart believed that they should live by the word and be careful that they would not fall into the same thing that brought down the country. What brought down the country was the paganism reinstilled in the Judaism. So they had Judaism and the paganism that came from the foreign women that married Solomon. You know, that's clearly written in the scripture, that this separation needed to happen. And the fact that he was empowered, he was believing it, and he was enforcing it is a good lesson for us too. And maybe the best lesson here, application, takeaway is, what about in your own heart? Can you in your own heart get angry about things that will tear you down, things that will mess up your life? Can you have some fire in your heart and just say no and pluck off the hair and get in a fight and contend for the truth and go for it? And can you have some fire in you? That's needed. We got to have it, you know. So that's it. Have a good day. God bless you. See you later. Pulpit committee meets down here with Patrick. You're dismissed. What?